Oh, hey, Mike. How's it going, mate?
James Cluer.
Good to see you.
Very good. What a surprise.
It's like, yeah. Well, what's the story? It's like Camelot here. What's the background on
The castle.
On the castle? Yeah.
Okay, thanks for asking, because this is the castle. A bit of a distraction from what we are. We are a winery.
And how long have you been here? You're in charge of all winemaking?
5 years.
5 years? Yeah. You've made wine in Australia and other places like that too.
I've been in Australia, Stonehaven, just went down there for a vintage.
Oh, just
learned a pile.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
making what, Aussie Shiraz? Or?
Making Aussie everything.
Road 13 is the new name for the winery, right?
Of course, we were Golden Mile cellars, and then Golden Mile is a much bigger thing than just our little winery. So it was pretty obvious to us that we should give the name back to the region.
So some people talk about this western side of the southern Okanagan as being the dark side, right? And they sing the praises of the Black Sage Bench. Now, no doubt there's two sides to that coin, right? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, we farm both sides. We have a vineyard on Black Sage Road as well, and I wouldn't put one over the other. I'd put them both as different. Black Sage is a fantastic spot to grow Cabernet Sauvignon and Syrah and Merlot. Golden Mile side, we can grow Syrah here quite nicely, but not Cabs. And okay. This is much more appropriate for something like Riesling, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir.
What do you think is Road 13's signature red?
I have to say Syrah.
That's your top.
Yeah, it depends who you talk to, but I would not have said this 5 years ago, but Syrah, for some reason, is just well suited to this valley. And it's not just a Road 13 signature, I think it's an Okanagan Valley signature. Syrah is unbelievably good and unique and distinctive from the valley. These are the characters. Fresh ground pepper, meaty. And when I say meaty, I'm talking about butcher's block. Right. Okay, something
freshly chopped meat.
Absolutely, and something feral, and so those are the characters of Okanagan Syrah. And then as far as the flavors, the texture, tannins are fantastically smooth and very much there. I mean, these are wines that need protein in front of them.
Mike is justifiably proud of his wines. To preserve their qualities, he recently moved to bottling the entire range under screw cap.
Some consumers think of this as a bit of a cheap closure, right? It lacks the romance. What are your thoughts on that?
Send them my way. Well, they are less expensive. There's no doubt about that.
These are less expensive?
Yeah, they're less expensive than corks. Corks are up in the 70-cent range is what I was paying for corks. And screw caps are about, in the low 20s cents.
Okay.
So, you do save a few pennies, a few cents on that. Having said that, I mean, that's not the price range of our wines. We're not trying to save cents. We're trying to put out the best bottle of wine that we can. This is getting us a better bottle of wine.
Okay, and you've just been frustrated by having bottles returned or customers disappointed with some corked wines, which...
That is frustrating, but what's more frustrating are the bottles that don't get returned. Because not a lot of people know what a cork tastes like, specifically.
Right.
They taste that wine, it doesn't taste good. And they think, Bartier's a lousy winemaker.
Right, right. So good decision.
Absolutely, yeah.
What percentage of wines do you think are corked?
Bit of a controversial statement I'm about to make. Yeah. I would say upwards of 10%.
Wow.
Yeah. There's at least one bottle in a case of wine, and I'm just talking about at home. I buy a lot of wine, and in a case of wine, there's at least a bottle that is off.
10% is certainly a high estimate, but whatever the figure, at least you can be guaranteed you won't find a corked bottle of Road 13. Michael Bartier is often experimenting with unusual techniques, such as actually fermenting red grapes in French oak barriques. He can also be found playing around with unusual blends, such as his benchmark Viognier Marsanne Roussanne, which is definitely one of the first of its kind in the Okanagan Valley and a beautiful wine in itself.
Mike, beautiful barrel cellar here, mate. I see a ton of different cooperages.
Yeah.
What's the story?
The whole idea of the different cooperages, to use an analogy, the spice rack. Different cooperages, like every winery, every winemaker has their style. Different coopers have their style. Dargo and Jagley, Vosges give a real smoky character, and I find that very appropriate to Merlot.
Okay.
Sori, very respectful of the fruit of the wine. Doesn't bring any type of a wood character to the wine, but it has a very nice fruit-forward character that is almost emphasized by the barrel.
Mike, tell me about this carved and grooved. What does that mean?
Carved and grooved. That is also known as a U-stave type of barrel. And if you were to have a look inside that barrel, which we won't be able to, but you would notice that the surface is corrugated.
So they've sort of carved and grooved out of the staves.
Exactly.
So it's more wood to wine.
Wood to wine surface area. Yeah.
At a staggering $1,200 a barrel, I was interested to go and catch up with the man who's actually paid for it all, Mick Luckhurst, the owner.
Well, hey Mick, how's
James,
it going?
It's going good.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Still the same old bandit.
Drinking.
Do I know you?
How did you get by security?
Please. Great bunch.
How many years have you owned Road 13 for?
We've just come up to 6 total years.
And what's the overall objective when you bought the winery? What did you want to achieve?
Well, again, we came out of these entrepreneurial, financially successful businesses, then we wanted a lifestyle change. So we weren't looking for financial success, we were looking for a satisfying lifestyle. And part of that, of course, is always accomplishing something. Rather than there comes a time in your life, it's a saying from years ago, there comes a time to stop acquiring and start accomplishing. And this was an area that we could accomplish something. We could try to make these real neat wines. It's the fun part of it. If that wasn't in it, there would be no fun, no learning. Because it's always, when you're learning, it's interesting. Otherwise, it's just rote.
So you're aiming for top quality wine?
Yeah, it's a good, healthy climate. We can make as good a wines here as anywhere in the world, I think.
When you drive up to the entrance at Road 13, you might expect to meet the Knights of the Round Table. But instead, you'll find Michael Bartier tinkering with new blends, proprietor Mick Luckhurst causing trouble, and his wife Pam keeping the winery on course to become one of the very best in the Okanagan Valley.